Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and welcome to Baylor Wide Television. Another sports feature we have here: Canelo versus Chavez. It's boxing news. The fight is official, and there are some people out there in the world that are really looking forward to see this fight. For me, personally, I see it's just another pay-per-view date for Mr. Canelo to make a lot of money. Okay, the opponent, Chavez Jr., I didn't see his comeback fight. I wasn't really interested. Chavez Jr. has a habit of coming in overweight. He's got a habit of being very ill-disciplined. And when you've got fighters like Chavez Jr. who blow up and down in weight, who are not disciplined, who just don't cut it as a professional fighter, and will never cut it as a professional fighter with his sort of attitude to the sport and basically taking the sport for granted. You can't bank on any sort of performance from Chavez Jr. You just go back to that super fight he was in against the best pound for pound fighter, best fighter in the middleweight division at least, which was Sergio Martinez. He was getting outboxed for 11 rounds and then landed that big punch in the 12th round. But, then he had the fight against, we saw the Fanfara fight, him coming in fighting a light heavyweight, not because he's a light heavyweight, but because he couldn't be bothered to do the weight. So he thought, I'll just come in as a light heavyweight against a natural light heavyweight, and got himself knocked out. So stories of Chavez Jr. being on other substances before fights, and one fight particularly, the Sergio Martinez fight, I heard even stories that he was on some form of marijuana or something before the fight. That's why he's so dopey for the fight. I don't know, but look, to be honest, when you've got a father who's a great, like Julio Cesar Chavez Senior, it's very hard to emulate that and be better than your father. So that takes a lot of dedication. So this fight, Canelo versus Chavez Jr., I say it's a payday, because Canelo is a fighter, as far as in my opinion, he's always a guy who comes in shape. He's always a guy that's, you're not going to catch him out of shape. You may see him blow up in weight, but that's because of the stipulation that we've got today in boxing, which allows a guy to put on 20, 30, 40 pounds, or 20, 30 pounds, not 40 pounds, 20, 30 pounds during overnight, but he always comes in shape. Canelo is always, I won't call him the consummate pro, but he's a very good pro, and dedicated to his craft. So you've got a guy who's very dedicated to his craft, a guy who's very disciplined. And all those nights of Chavez playing the fool and messing around, Chavez is an old fighter, old because of his lifestyle, the way he's lived his life. So there's always a great fight left in a fighter, but I think Canelo's going to beat the snot out of Chavez Jr. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chavez Jr. either retires in the corner or gets beaten to pulp by Canelo. Canelo's in his prime at the moment. Chavez is definitely on the slide. And again, this is a payday. I hear stories that Canelo will take the fight either at the middleweight division or just above the middleweight division, in terms of maybe a catchweight bout. And of course, the Gennady Golovkin fans have jumped up and said, "Oh, I see you're not fighting Gennady Golovkin." Well, not quite possible, boxing fans, because Gennady Golovkin just finished a press conference with Danny Jacobs. That being said, in terms of Gennady Golovkin and Danny Jacobs, whether you like it or not, that's Gennady Golovkin's best fight to date, or his best test to date in Danny Jacobs. Bona fide middleweight world champion, big puncher in Danny Jacobs, a legitimate middleweight. If you look at Gennady Golovkin's record, his best win is against a welterweight, which is Kell Brook. Regardless of what you think, that's what it is. And I do not sign up for this belief system that Gennady Golovkin is the A side. How can Gennady Golovkin be the A side? Canelo has faced the premier, the #1 welterweight in the world, or the best fighter in the world of this era, which was Floyd Mayweather. And Canelo fought him. Gennady Golovkin hasn't done that yet. And you look at his, Canelo's got a list of fighters that he's fought. Look at Gennady Golovkin's record compared to Canelo, it's very scratchy. So Golovkin doesn't come to the party as an A-sider. He comes as a B-sider. And the way you become an A-sider is to fight opponents. And if you don't get the fights you want at middleweight, move up to super middleweight, take the fights. Canelo was down at light middleweight. He got the Cotto fight, moved up to middleweight, fought Cotto. Okay, he won the fight, went back from middleweight down to light middleweight, won a world title, beat Liam Smith. But he's got a resume of the who's who of boxing. You know what I mean? When you tell me that Marty Murray's his best win, or Daniel Golovkin's best win, or Brooks his best win, and then you're going to turn around and say that this guy would have beaten Marvin Hagler. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can call me a hater, but if I'm hating for telling you facts, if I'm hating for just showing you his resume and saying this guy, how can you sell this guy and say he should be in the picture? He shouldn't be in the picture. He should be fighting some really decent opponents. And he's on the start of doing that by fighting Danny Jacobs. So, you know, he's fought some all-time greats, Canelo, Mosley. Or they'll go down as legends. Mosley, Cotto, Mayweather. That's 3 already that Canelo has fought. So, you know, then he's had good champions. He fought Trout and beat Trout. He's fought Lara. I personally thought Lara beat him, but still fought Lara. So, you know, he's fought Khan. Liam Smith, he's not a great fighter, still another world champion. So, you know, and you can go through the Canelo record of all the guys he's fought. So he's the A-side fighter. He deserves to be the A-side fighter, regardless of what people may say today. He deserves to be the A-side fighter. And Gennady Golovkin fighting his first real credible opponent against Danny Jacobs. If he beats Danny Jacobs, then yeah, give him all the credit in the world. He still has to beat the man in Canelo, as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to go by the base of the man that beat the man that beat the man, well, Cotto beat Martinez, who was the man, and Canelo beat Cotto. That's how I see it. Picking up belts because people won't fight you does not make you the man. It just makes you a title holder. Personal opinion. Okay, so Chavez versus Canelo is on. Am I excited about it? No. It's a payday for Canelo, and I'll just explain my reasons why. All the best to Badu Jack and James DeGale tomorrow night. And I see Carl Froch is doing what he normally does, hinting that he'll come back. Well, he isn't really going to come back. Just keeping himself in the picture, in it, keeping yourself relevant. Just keep yourself relevant by just talking about it. And fans just wonder if he'll come back or not. Froch won't come back. He doesn't need to come back. He's a multi-millionaire. He doesn't need to come back and fight. He can say he itches all he wants, but you know, you become deluded in what you can do. As you remember, the last time you were in the ring, that stays in the ring. His memory. The last time he was in the ring is when he beat George Groves. That's the memory that stays in Carl Froch's head. You know, but you can be slightly deluded. He said he would have beaten Badu Jack and James DeGale on the same night. Well, I think again, Froch is a bit tongue-in-cheek with that. He's just keeping himself relevant. And I don't know if he'll ever say that there'll be a super middleweight better than himself other than JC and Joe Kazaki. But he fancies his chances against Joe Kazaki as well. But yeah, he never talks about Andre Ward like that because Andre Ward beat him. But anyway, I like Carl Froch. I think he's a cool dude. I like his demeanor. I think he's what he is, and I like him. I like him. He's that's why he's been so successful as a British fighter, because he's had an approach which is no nonsense, gets down to business, dedicated, consummate pro. We can't knock Froch. So that's about it, really. That's my roundup. All the best to Lara tonight as well. Be nice to see him in the big fights again. Expecting to win this fight tonight pretty easily by knockout. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Take care.